So, the art and science of effective coaching. This has been one of the topics that I see people try to get certified in. And I say tried because a lot of times people just get it's a bunch of programs out there where people are just getting certified in coaching, but nobody really knows an effective way on how to actually do it and get progress. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't really see too many programs out there that's really doing this correctly. They get out and they know a bunch of technical things and maybe they can put together some worksheets, but they're not actually making people move forward. Does that make sense? If you're an effective coach, you should be able to effectively help people get progress. I don't care about all the technical terms. I don't care about the little worksheets and activities and stuff you could give them. That's important too. But at the end of the day, if you are an effective coach, you should be able to help people make progress. If you can't move people to transform their life and change, then you're in this just giving information, but it's not helping anybody. All the people that I know, or the people that usually want to rock in a space like this with me, are usually the people that are in this for transformation. They're not in this just to tell their story. They're not in this just to give a bunch of good advice to people, but nobody's taking action. You feel what I'm saying? If that's the case, shout out to all my speakers, and I speak too, but there's a lot of people out there that just want to get on stage and speak just to share their story, but nobody's life is being changed. What? You feel what I'm saying? We get in this to transform lives, right? The clout, the exposure, the fame, the fortune, that comes with the territory. But at the end of the day, if somebody pressed you out and asked you a question like, yo, how many people's lives did you transform? How much results did you get people? Can you tell me any stories of XYZ? How many clients that you help XY? If you can't say none of that because you don't know how to effectively coach and get people to make change, then you in this just to tell your story. You ain't in this coaching, right? How do you really be an effective coach? So let me kind of share with you the why. The why piece of it, we talked a lot about, specifically getting people to make progress. See, when somebody gets a coach, the reason that reason people hire coaches is because they feel like somebody else has the solution to what I'm looking for. And they feel like they have somebody that can also hold them accountable and provide them with the resources they need to make progress. And that's really what it comes down to. It's more than just, I'm going to provide you with the information, because if it was just the information, they can get that out of a book. If it was just the information, they can listen to a podcast. They can watch a YouTube video. So it's more than just the information. Us as humans, especially when we're building or working towards something, we want to speak to a real person. We want to get feedback. We want to be able to go do something, run with it, come back and say, hey, this is what happened. I hit my goal or I didn't hit my goal. Could you tell me what I did wrong? Could you tell me what can I improve on? Could you really show me what's working, what's not working? And a lot of times people find it difficult to make progress because they're trying to do everything alone and they don't have another opinion from somebody who actually did it. Now, there's a lot of us who we try to go out, do things on our own and get opinions from friends and family. If that was you, put that to me in the chat. Right? Listen, I did it too, right? When you go out, you do a bunch of things, but you're not really consulting or coaching or working with people who actually know. You're getting people telling you, well, I think you should do it this way, or I think this is the answer, or right, but they're not really giving you things that's actually coaching is essential. Now, what are some things that we really want to pay attention to and look out for to be great coaches? So one of the first things you need to do is get clear on what your curriculum is, because to be a great coach is more than just I'm giving good advice to make somebody feel good. It's more about giving people a blueprint. So at a minimum, you need to give people a blueprint. Now, that means that you had to have thought through your blueprint already. You feel what I'm saying? That means that you gotta know what you're helping people. You gotta know what your curriculum is. Have you already thought through who your ideal client is? Have you already thought through what their goals are? Have you already thought through the curriculum or the steps or the process that it's gonna take to help them reach their goal? Have you thought about that? If you haven't, there's no way that you can be an effective coach if you don't know what plays you giving them. That's like having, that's like the NBA or the NFL having coaches, but they don't know what plays they running, right? Every great coach, they know what play, whether it's, to try and go off. And so, like anything, like every team has their own playbook, right? And they know what they're not just getting on the field or just getting on the basketball. This is when I'm coaching you, I'm giving you a play, or I'm giving you a curriculum of things that I've learned or things that I've been through, or lessons that, I've gotten from experience or my expertise, and I'm walking you through it so you don't have to make those same mistakes. You can apply the lessons and you can get closer towards your goal. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, go ahead and put "make sense" in the chat. And that's the very first mistake that I see people make, is that they want to go out here and coach and help people, but they don't have a curriculum that you can literally hand Next somebody. Thing, to really be an effective coach, you have to understand the person that is in front of you. So if you're coaching people, everybody is different. People have different personalities. Now, if you take a personality assessment, then, or if you take in any, you know that there's typically different dominant. Typically, they have 4 dominant personality types. One of the most popular ones now and effective ones is called the DISC assessment. ET uses a lot. I think he changed it, but before he was calling it the flight assessment. It still might be called the flight, but people take the DISC assessment and then they basically theme it out. So whatever their own themes are, right? Just so people could really understand it better. But essentially what it means is there's 4 different types of personalities, right? You have dominant, you got social, you got more conservative, and, more, bringing everybody together. You have people who are more analytical, right? Numbers, data, facts, right? So usually you fall in. So for me, I'm more for social, right? But you got people that are just like executors, or you got people that just deal with the numbers, or you know what I mean? You got people that's just more collaborative, different things of that nature, right? So there's different personality types. It's really important for you to understand those different personality types, and it's also important for you to realize who you're talking to, because based on certain things that they say, you can get a better you get a better indicator of who this person is. Because if you give a person that is, super social, or you get a person that's more execution, action oriented, and you give them a bunch of detail, it's a wrap. You feel what I'm saying? They're not going to do it. So, which means you're not going to be an effective coach, because if your client isn't doing the things that you're recommending them do because you don't understand how they learn, then you're going to be in a place where it's always going to be hard for you to get clients to get results. Even if it's free, they won't do it, and you won't get testimonials, which in turn is going to be harder for you to get clients, right? So I would focus on also figuring out, understanding, get a personality book. If you want to do it, I recommend that you actually take the DISC assessment. If that's something that you want to do, or literally you could type it in, and you can do it that way. And if you need some help with that or going through the results, then maybe we can have a conversation. I can see how I can help you out with that. We could talk about what that would actually look like, just to kind of do something like that, whether for me or my team. But that's DISC, DISC. I would say take the DISC assessment, and that'll give you an understanding of the personality types. So then, what's also great too is that they also give you how to identify your own traits that make you that personality type, and then they also give you the traits of when you're communicating with somebody, and how to know what personality type they are, and how to respond to them and work with them if they're that personality type. So it's super dope. You know what I mean? So I would recommend you do that, because you got to understand that type of person. Or if you're working with a detail-oriented person and you're just giving them the big picture, they're like, okay, I see generally where you're going, but I need specifics. Boom, 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 boom. Like, what does that look like here? What does that look like at the next step? What is that? You feel what I'm saying? So if you give somebody a super big picture, because maybe you're a big picture person or you're an action oriented person, so you give somebody just the vision or the dream, but you don't give them the steps or the milestones to get there, they'll be confused, and you'll say, yeah, I can help you do this and I can coach you to do that. And that's how you're communicating to them. Or you say, okay, I need you to go out and do this. And they'll say, okay. okay, but what does that look like? How do I do it? What's the steps? Where do I go? That'll frustrate you because you're like, yo, just go out and figure it out. Just do it. Right. But they're like, hold up, wait, it's so many different wrong turns I can take here. Like, you got to give me some level of detail, like what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. So that's where miscommunication happens. And that's where people who are coaching, especially as you start to get more clients, it makes it hard for you. It is our job to make sure that we're challenging people. We're challenging their thoughts. We're challenging their beliefs. We get into trouble a lot as well, too, as coaches when because we don't want to, maybe they paid us, right? And we feel like, oh, we don't want to piss people off, or we don't want to make them angry, or we don't want to tell them something that's true contrarian to the way that they think, because if it's the opposite of the way they think, they're going to be mad and they're going to leave and we're not going to get clients. But it's our job as coaches to really give people the best wisdom and advice that we have in order to help them make progress. And it don't have to be, the biggest or best advice in the world. Is really, when you're coaching people based on your experience and your expertise and based on the lessons that you've learned. That's really what you're teaching and you're training people. You got to be able to challenge their thinking, because if their thinking was already aligned with success, they would already have the result. Right? They would already have the result. Am I right or am I right? So the reason they don't have the result is because they haven't been thinking in a realm of how you've been thinking, regardless if you're a life coach, you help people with trauma, you help people with business, make money, health, nutrition, whatever it is, whatever your niche is. We all got different niches here. But they need your thinking, because you've got the experience, you got the advice, you have something that can help move them, nudge them forward. But if you don't challenge them to think differently, that means they're thinking the same. And the same is what keeps getting them the same results. So you really have to provide them with resources that can help them get to the next level. So part of what we do as coaches is, we coach them, we teach them, we train them, we're teaching them on the right things, right? We're challenging how they're thinking, we're breaking it down so they know exactly what to do, but also provide them with the tools and the resources to succeed, right? A lot of times, we can get a lot done by ourselves and having them, let's say, do things on coaching calls with us, which, by the way, is another thing you can do. When you're on the call with them, have them make progress. This is something that's really changed since the start of the coaching industry. So this, I would say, within like the last 5 years, right? Because this really started getting a name probably like a decade ago in terms of the coaching industry really started becoming popular then. But then, people started getting more into kind of online education. I put it to you that way, like a decade ago. So, but I would say within really the last 5 years since coaching has really been taking off, a lot of people are getting information, but now where the market has been starting to shift is because there's so much information out there. People don't know what to follow, but then now, because they're getting so much information, even if they become clients of yours, it's very easy to just collect the information and say, I'm going to go back to it. But instead, to be a great coach, I want you to get them to take action. The only way to grow is if you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. You can't continue to live inside of your comfort zone and expect growth. That's a ball. Just doesn't happen. So the more you practice, the better you'll be.